It's symbolic too. It's taking away playing time and letting him know they're not happy, and they're not happy. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. I'm Mike Catalana. Thanks for being with me today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's time for our league podcast. We're going to look, as always, top five, bottom five. And I'm also going to look at, I guess, a little bit about the MVP race, where Josh Allen is at the moment, and also the top players at quarterback, top players at wide receiver, and the top players at running back. Things have changed in the NFL a little bit. We are brought to you, as always, on the League Podcast by Stellar Roofing, Windows, and Siding. Thanks very much to Stellar Roofing for being with us as the sponsor of this show. And we wanted to say right off the top, my voice is a little scratchy. I got to get it ready for Thursday, because Thursday night we're coming to Buffalo at the Buffalo Riverworks. Dan, Jenna, myself, all of us there to do the live Buffalo Plus podcast. We will be there from 5 o'clock on. We've talked about it. None of us have been to the Riverworks in Buffalo. Heard it's awesome. It's brought to you by White Claw. They'll have some samples. They'll have stuff going on. There's going to be a raffle or a sign up to potentially win tickets to the final game at a stadium. That's what we're allowed to say. You figure it out. So all of that is going on to get ready. So we will be there Thursday night, October the 9th, 5 to 7. And then we get going with the podcast from 7 to 8. We'd love to have you out there. Bring your friends. The Sabres are playing the same night. So, you watch us, then you watch the Sabres. Who knows? Maybe they'll get the season off to a win. I guess we will see. So that's coming up on Thursday. Let's get started with the league. And as always, there's stuff going around in this league. The first one, before I get to Bill's stuff, is Joe Flacco is now with the Bengals. It's wild. The Bengals are a mess. We'll talk more about them in a minute. Flacco, obviously, a Raven, a Brown. He's been Eagle, Jet. He's been all over the place. That offensive line is terrible. And I know Browning has been bad, but I don't see what Joe Flacco is going to do for them, because he can't move and they can't block, and he's going to another place. So I think maybe Cleveland wanted to get him out. Cleveland's made so many trades with mediocre to bad quarterbacks is what they've done, but they make this move. So he goes to the Bengals. So it really doesn't mean much other than it's Joe Flacco, and maybe he'll beat the Steelers with another franchise. And eventually he's got to play with the Steelers, right? Somehow play with the Steelers. Can you imagine that combination if that was in Pittsburgh? So that deal came down. I want to talk about the Bills, and I'm sure Dan and Jenna, we're going to talk more about this, certainly on the podcast on Thursday, but the Keon Coleman situation. And I say situation because the team needed to address it. It's the second time. He didn't start the game. Now, when you look at the actual punishment, it's relatively minor. I mean, you don't go out for the first series. It's symbolic, too. It's taking away playing time and letting him know they're not happy. And they're not happy. Sean McDermott said it. He said he's seen some growth, but come on. Twice now, as an NFL player, they've had to discipline you. Last year, the word was that he was late for a meeting. They did not say specifically what it was, but it would feel that way, that it's one of those kind of team rules. And when the head coach has to discipline you in that way, that should be the first time should have been the real wake-up call. The fact that it happened again is bad. And then even Joe Brady talking about he's got to be in the right place, do the right things. It starts at practice. So, he still makes a few plays. That's what's frustrating, but he needs to be better. And when I say on and off the field, I'm not talking about his personal life. I'm talking about all the things that leads up to getting you out on the field. He's got to be better. And they don't want to put up with that crap. I mean, you're a second-round pick. You got to be ready. You got to be ready for Josh Allen. Then he goes out on the field and he fumbles when he touches the ball. So not good for Keon. That needs to change. We'll see where he is this week. in terms of playing time. But, he's still, it's frustrating because you see the plays he can make. He scored the touchdown. He made another really nice catch, one of the best catches he's made, but he's doing some other stuff that they're not happy about. So let's see where that ends up going. All right, let's go top 5, bottom 5. And I'm going to start with my bottom 5. And, I think sometimes people get a little literal with this. I like to punish teams when they are bad, right? Even if it's a really good team. So that's where I put them in my list. This is for this week and this week only. The whole thing can change next week. Probably not, but it could change. Number 5, I have the Baltimore Ravens. They were an embarrassment this past week. I know Lamar's not out there. I know Kyle Hamilton wasn't out there. But Derrick Henry's out there, and he's been bad. He did score a touchdown. I know I'm mentioning him because I got him on my fantasy team, and he's been bad. They look like a mess. And I guess they'll get Lamar back soon and try to get this fixed. Maybe they're that team that gets off to the bad start and then starts to get rolling and becomes that dangerous playoff team at the bottom of the pack. But right now, it's not looking good. And they've given away leads early. Now they just haven't been competitive for a couple of weeks, giving up a ton of points. So I got them number 5. For the Raiders, I just see them sometimes just get boat raced. And I don't know if they're a serious football team. I know they went out and they got Geno and, they changed coaches and they have the oldest coach in the NFL. And it's just something about them. And you'd think that it would start to pick up. You would think with the Chiefs struggling and the Chargers dropping down and the Broncos, with a good win, you'd think they'd be ready to make some kind of a move. They have some talent on that team, but they don't deserve to be thought of as a serious team. So I've got them number 4. Number 3, I've got the Bengals. I just mentioned them. I know, again, playing without your quarterback. I don't care. Their defense stinks. Offensive line stinks. I think Zach Taylor's going to get fired. Sorry, little edit there. I guess I'm drinking out of my own mug. How about that? Just a little scratchy throat. I don't know. Old man, I'm getting a little worn down early in the season. Maybe I need a veteran day off. Anyhow, I was talking about the Bengals, and they just have not looked good. And now they've got Flacco. They're not going anywhere. I don't know what'll happen. I mentioned Joe Brady as a possible head coach at the end of the year. He's coached Joe Burrow. He's coached Jamar Chase. He's been involved with LSU. He's an Ohio guy. They could do a lot worse than Joe Brady, though I know a lot of you are upset with Brady at the moment, but they could do a lot worse if they were going to get a head coach. And then let's go to the city that never sleeps for number 2. And who knows? Maybe the Giants will knock off the Eagles on Thursday night, and you're going to be coming at me for this. But I have them as the second worst team. I don't think the Saints are terrible, and especially at home. They played the Bills tough. They were coming off that blowout they lost to Seattle, and that was as bad as they could play. But the Giants gave the game away. The kid has ability, but he's turning the ball over. They obviously are missing their number 1 receiver. The defense is not bad. They've played better. They can get after it on the D-line, but, the turnovers killed them. And, they fumbled. The fumble return for a touchdown. So the Giants are bad. I don't know where that's going to go. I think they're going to let the quarterback play. I think they think Jackson Dart has ability, which he does, but it's going to be a rough first year. So I've got them too. And let's stay in the same city. Hand up. I was wrong about the Jets. Not that I thought they were going to be good, but I thought Aaron Glenn would get them to at least start playing the right way. I thought they were going to be a tough out, and they lost a couple of tough games early. The Bills handled them, but they're just bad. They're bad. And it's not all on the quarterback, though. Justin Fields is never going to be, I don't think, a guy. He's just, or the guy. He's going to be a guy, and he can make some plays. But the defense with Aaron Glenn coaching is not doing anything. They don't take the ball away. There's some crazy stat about they're the first team to start a season 0-5 without forcing a turnover in like, I don't know, 100 years, whatever it is. They're terrible. They're the only team, excuse me, in the NFL without a win. So congratulations, New York Jets. And I'll say this really, and I shouldn't say it, but until they win, they're going to stay number one, right? Somebody's going to have to be really, really bad. And some of those really bad teams have come up a little and played better, like the Saints. So let's see. Now, top five. Don't get mad at me again. I got to give the flowers to the Patriots. They are not one of the 5 best teams in the NFL. But for this week, I'm going to put them at 5 because they beat the Bills. And they didn't just beat the Bills. They played well. They played smart. I mean, hard to believe, but Drake May outplayed Josh Allen in that game. And they were well coached. They did a lot of things well. And I know they just survived, but to go in that atmosphere and beat the Bills was impressive. I know what you're going to say. Oh, remember this before with Mac Jones? I don't think this kid is Mac Jones. I think he's different. And I think Vrabel is different. And it's maybe just a step. And they may take 2 steps back again during this year. But they look like a team that's going to be an issue for the Bills. So I'm going to give them their flowers for this week, and I'm going to put them at number 5 after that impressive performance. I've got the Bucs at number 4. They're 4-1. They are a fun watch. Their one loss was to the Eagles, and they stormed back in that game. Baker just does it late all the time. He's just that guy who can, no matter what's going on, he puts it together. They'll get everybody back. Bucs are good. The Bucs are good. And I'm telling you, by the end of the year, if they can get some stuff straightened out with that defense, they could absolutely be a contender to go to the Super Bowl. And I'm not kidding. They're good, and Baker's good. I'm going to give the Jags number 3. And I always laugh about the Jags. I always say that that's my least favorite city to go to. Give them some credit. There was some atmosphere in the game Monday night, and I am not a fan of the quarterback. I'm not, but he did make a couple of plays. The fact that he purposely fell down and then waited and then got up and ran in the end zone was tremendous. Obviously, I'm kidding. That can happen. He trips over his own guy. He's not aware in the pocket or out of the pocket. He makes some dumb throws. He's not good with time and management. He has a great arm, and he showed it with a throw to Brian Thomas. I don't know. Liam Cohn's got him. He's got a little vibe to him for this year. So I don't know how long it'll last. And Bills fans are happy he beat the Chiefs. So give it to him. And number 2, hey, Dan, hey, Jenna, I know you're not here. I'm putting the Colts back there again because they keep winning and they keep blowing people out. And I don't know how long it's going to last, but they deserve it. I think they have the number 1 point differential in the league. So I'm going to put them at number 2. And number 1, I'm not putting the Bills in the top 5 this week, just for this week. They have not played great, and they played poorly on Monday night. So, again, you're going to be mad at me. I don't care. Number 1, Detroit Lions. They've been the best team, and I think they are a dangerous team the whole way through. I talk about the Bucs. You notice I don't have the Eagles in there either. They're 4-1, but they made a ton of mistakes and blew a big lead at home. And they earned that first loss, much like the Bills, where they won 4 games, but they had to do it with a crazy comeback. They had to do it with some fortunate plays at the end. They had their one substantial win. Eagles haven't been good enough. And at least for this past week, the Bills paid for some of the little things they've been doing wrong, and then they turned it over. So for this week, I know they're still 4-1. I don't have the Bills in my top 5. And you're laughing. You're going, you really have the Jags and the Colts ahead of them? They played better this week. They did. The Bills did not. So I have the Lions number 1. Feel free to comment. That's what we're doing here on the league. So go ahead and do that. And now when we talk about, Josh Allen did not have a great game. The fumble, whatever that was, and I heard Joe Brady trying to justify it, that they'll run that play. He said it's a two-play two-call play, I think, meaning that in that look, Josh can make the change. Maybe that's what he's saying, that Josh made the change when they're trying to run basically a jet sweep to Dawson Knox. Don't run that play again. It's a dumb call. Sorry, Joe. Do it with one of the fast receivers, not with Dawson Knox. But it ends up a fumble. That goes on Josh Allen. Those two would know specifically what it was. It didn't look like Knox was ready for the ball or wanted the ball. And then he threw the pick where he said he didn't force it. Shakir usually gets in front of his man, and he was, but the other corner came around him. Did look like he forced it since it was only second down, but he had the 2 turnovers. He still made plays. He still drove him down the field. I don't think guys are getting open enough for him. But Josh is still, according to most of the books, the favorite, the betting favorite to win MVP again. And he could do it when you look at his competition. I think the numbers have to pick up a little bit just because that's what people are going to be looking for. But he's the betting favorite. He was the odds-on favorite before. He was just the number went from a minus to a plus, but he's still number one. Guy that's in there is Baker, and Baker's playing great. I would say this, God, this hurts me, but there's no quarterback playing better right now than Dak Prescott. He's playing great. He's moving the ball around. He's making the right throws, and he didn't have CeeDee Lamb, so he's playing great. Stafford is playing outstanding. Puka Nacua, I'm not on pace guy, and I'll mention him with the receivers. I'll just say it now. Puka's on pace for 2,000 yards. He's been phenomenal. So, yeah. But Stafford has been really good. And Daniel Jones has been okay. I'm giving you a little bit with the Colts, but the Colts are winning, and they may very well win that division. But those are the guys in terms of the quarterbacks who are playing well. I mentioned Puka, wide receiver. They've thrown to him 62 times. He's caught 52 of them. He's over 500 and I think 40 yards. JSN for Seattle. That dude is probably the most underappreciated great wide receiver. He is really, really good. He's averaging 15.7 a game. Jefferson with the Vikings with bad quarterback play. I mean, Carson Wentz did make some plays at the end of that game. You talk about a guy who doesn't understand where to be in the pocket and where to make plays. It's Carson Wentz, but we'll see what ends up happening with the Vikings. Emeka Egbuka for Tampa, number 1 pick. Crazy how wide receivers can come right in the league and start making plays. I know he was a high draft pick, but those guys have been outstanding. And then running backs. We've already talked about James Cook. He's top 5. Heck, right now I'd say he's 2. He's right behind Jonathan Taylor, who is playing great for the Colts. A big reason. Averaging 96 yards a game. Cook's averaging 90. Biggest problem for the Bills, they didn't give Cook the ball enough. He didn't get the ball. He should have gotten the ball more, and that's on them. I think they'll run it more this week in Atlanta, but James Cook has been fantastic for the Bills. Guys like Javonte Williams for the Cowboys. Travis Etienne's been really good. It's like his resurgence. Kyron Williams, though he had that terrible end to that game in San Francisco, who's been not good. Derrick Henry from the first game where he torched the Bills for 169 as 148 in the last 4 games. And Saquon Barkley, 3.2 yards a carry. He's 22nd in the league in rushing. I know they played the Giants a couple of times. I'm sure he'll want to get going. He has not broken the long runs. I think 17 is his long run for this year. So when you look at that, things change quickly in the NFL. Now, both Henry and Saquon had a ton of touches last year. Maybe it's impacted them. Offensive line issues. Henry's been affected when Lamar's not in the game. The Eagles just have not committed enough to the run, and Saquon has not looked great. He's looked okay. Their offensive line hasn't been as good, so we'll see how it all plays out. All right. I'm welcoming your comments when you tell me how mad you are that the Bills aren't in the top 5, how mad you are that the Patriots are for this week in the top 5, and maybe you have your other choices for the bottom 5. Hey, Josh is number 1 for MVP, so and James Cook's been great. but some other issues as they get set. All right. I mentioned to you at the beginning that we will be at Riverworks in Buffalo Thursday night. Stop by 5 to 7. We got some time to talk to everybody, talk about what's going on with the team, and then we'll do the broadcast or the podcast that you can watch on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel from 7 to 8. That's on Thursday night. And then we'll be down in Atlanta for the game. It's a Monday night game against the Falcons. These night games, I know, is tough for all you guys. It's tough for us. And we'll see how it goes on the road. I think it's going to be a fun atmosphere. I think there'll be a decent amount of Bills fans in Atlanta, and we'll see how the game plays out. All right, so that's going to do it for me for this week's edition of The League, brought to you by Stellar Roofing, Windows, and Siding. We thank Stellar for being with us. We thank all of you for being with us. As always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. For Dan Fates and Jenna Cottrell, who I'm sure you'd want to see more than me, I'm Mike Catalana. Thanks for watching The League, and we'll see you next time on Buffalo Plus.